called to create Females Football and Philanthropy because I really felt over the year of working on the Super Bowl, which is one of the biggest games, sporting events that happens in the United States annually, that if there was a great women's event, because there's so many women interested in football now, and it had a charity component, that it could really be successful. And I didn't see anyone doing it, and I just felt that it was a great platform to start.
The first words I heard was, "You have breast cancer." It still was a shock to the family, to myself, an interruption in life. How come the whys, the wheres, the what happened?
I was diagnosed in April of 2007. I was 45 years old at the time. I had just completed a few years earlier work as a chaplain to the morgue at Ground Zero. And people will often ask me, do you think working at Ground Zero it impacted your susceptibility to cancer? Do you think that's part of it? That's a question I'll never really be able to answer. On the other hand, I would have done it again in a heartbeat, even if they had told me, you will get cancer if you work at Ground Zero.
You face a diagnosis in your early 30s, and in the late 80s, the combo was not so good. And frankly, I was misdiagnosed, and a doctor misled me, told me I was too young to have breast cancer. And because I am who I am, and I push through when I'm faced with challenges, I just thought, you know what? He's wrong.
So I was diagnosed with cancer in May of 2009. It was about a week after Mother's Day. And I had come home on Mother's Day after a 2-month battle of recovery. I was in inpatient treatment in California for alcohol abuse, as I'm an alcoholic. And so I was home a week, and then I got diagnosed with cancer.
The thing I love about football is that I feel that it's really a relatively simplistic game. But what it really takes is tremendous drive and ambition to run for the touchdown.
One of the sports figures that is just very current right now that I have a lot of respect for is Peyton Manning. Partly he has such a wonderful family behind him. These brothers who are amazing athletes who support one another. And the fact that he had this terrible injury and people weren't sure he was going to come back, and the dedication it took on his part to continue working out and to come back last season, then really come back this season and triumph. I think for anyone who's dealing with an illness or an accident, injury, we need those stories of hope. And I think he was a story of hope. I'm going to do it until it's clear that I can't do it, but I'm not going to have someone else tell me that I'm not going to be able to come back.
My son, Julian Michael Spain, he's a football player and has been since he was 8 years old. He is an inspiration. He epitomizes Christ, and I pull my strength from him.
Terry Bradshaw. I mean, it sort of started as a crush, but then I paid closer attention to the depth. Not so much, you know, he was all that and then some in his talent as a football player, but he really has been very generous on so many other levels.
Brett Favre, as the consequences that he went through from an injury, getting somewhat addicted to substances based on that, but then seeing his way through to recovery and getting through it.
I think it's a wonderful platform to mix professional women with a love of sports, a wonderful philanthropic component, raising money for needs out there, and having there be all the wonderful elements of good event planning. I chose the American Cancer Society to be the beneficiary of this event because I believe so many of us are touched by cancer in our families and our friends, and I wanted to go to a group that could support all kinds of cancers, but specifically zeroing in on female cancer.
Words of inspiration, my word, I would say surrender. When we focus on cancer itself, it is overwhelming to not only you, your family, and the people that you love, but when you focus on something bigger, in my situation, a relationship with Christ, that minimizes. And it just gives you that peace that passes all understanding that everything will be okay.
My P words are perseverance, persistence, patience, and passion. And if you can embrace those words, and patience is hard when you face a diagnosis of cancer, really hard. But if you can embrace those words and never, never stop believing that you could be the next miracle, I think, you can get it done.
So I would say for people going through it, humor is huge. You have to maintain a sense of humor. Be unapologetically who you are. And if you're having a lousy day, that's you just having a lousy day. Let people who love you give to you. Because often, especially women, we're givers, we have a hard time accepting those meals that people bring to your house, accepting the ride to take your kid to school. But people want to help, and this is your time to be helped.
Well, I think strength comes from within. And, I'm a cancer survivor. I'm a female alcoholic. I'm a CEO of a business. Those things generically identify being a strong person. But the strength that I get is from others, right? I know how to be able to embrace the things, of what that is. And so, I'm self-made. I came up through the school of hard knocks and took every opportunity I had. But strength comes from failing, okay? And, you fail your family on lots of times. I failed my family more than once. And so the ability to take those consequences, take those failures, take the things that you haven't done so well, and figure out a way to use them and embrace them, to me, that's what strength is.
And I'm hoping with Females Football and Philanthropy and other female and philanthropy initiatives that we may do, that we can in fact run for a touchdown for causes that will be near and dear to the hearts of not only myself, but many women around the country.